That looks much healthier, doesn't it? 50 points on the board. Marvellous. Mind you, 50 points on board. The magic 50. Still might not be enough. We've still got a bit of business to do. Go to Sunderland, get a point at minimum. In fact, a clean sheet does it, doesn't it? And if we defend like we did yesterday, I think there's every chance. Yesterday. I didn't do a video yesterday, hence why I'm in shed now. Sunday dinner on go. I've been vanquished from kitchen. I didn't do a video because cat had gone missing and it put me about. Yeah, I do worry about animals. I don't trust anybody who don't like animals, me, know what I mean? Anyway, so didn't do one last night. It's given me time to reflect on it. Great result. But thinking about it overnight, real credit to Danny Rule there. Because he's obviously a young manager, got his methods, got a way that he wants his football to be played. And I suspect the way we used the ball yesterday wasn't it. We went long when we had to. Goalkeeper cleared stuff when he had to. And to paraphrase Batman, I'm sure that's not the football that Danny Rule wants. But for this season, that's the football that it needs. And I'm glad that he's managed to not be stubborn. Because some managers come in, they've got a way they want to play and they stick to it no matter what, no matter results, and they talk about perseverance and this and that other. But needs must, it is a results business. So I found that reassuring that he weren't going to be that stubborn, that he was going to cost Wednesday or cost himself, in fact. And I'm sure next season, which hopefully is still around, we will see the other side and see what he actually really wants us to do when he's put his own sort of stamp on things. It's one of them funny things, isn't it? We've won 3-0, so it's brilliant performance from the lads and everybody's buzzing and best performance of the season and this and that. In terms of using the ball, as I've just alluded to, I didn't think we were that good. I didn't think our football was that good yesterday. But it didn't need to be. It was about getting a result. It's just that thing in it, when you win everything's brilliant, when you don't, it don't matter how good you've been, people oh shit. But what we did do yesterday, even though the football weren't fantastic, is we did all the basics really well. We defended well, we closed people down, we worked hard. And now that should go without saying that you work hard and you do basics well, but it's not always the case. Every weekend there's fans at clubs up and down land who'll talk about players strolling about or drifting out of position and one thing or another. But yesterday, everybody had got that eye on ball. Everybody got that focus. And to that end, it really was a great performance. We got stuck in. There was a real urgency to the way we closed them down. We weren't going mad pressing from front in that first half. We were sort of in the middle of the pitch, but we're nice and compressed and trying to stop them playing that way. They did have some breaks. I mean, they're a top-end championship side. They've got some quality players, so they were always going to cause us one or two issues. And they forced quite a few corners. That were probably my only concern. I think I scribbled it down, so I think they won 6 out of 7 challenges from corners, wonder headers, so that was a bit of a concern. But Wednesday were ratting at them. They were ratting at them over the pitch. Volks and Bannon in the middle, and impressively for me, Masaba. That's not really a side of his game that I think we particularly see too much, but he was tracking back, getting stuck in, and at times it was like a 5-4-1. Ugbo were up there on his own a lot of the time, but it's needs must, isn't it? Wednesday took lead in 22nd minute. Corner ball again. It comes from pressure. Comes. Cracking strike from Windass. Keeper makes a really good save. Masaba's in on rebound. Again, another good save. It's a bit unlucky there, keeper, to be honest with you. 2 really good saves. Third attempt, Masaba tucks it home and it brings a bit of relief. I think a little bit of pressure because a huge crowd, terrific atmosphere. And I think Wednesday were thriving off that atmosphere. But the longer it goes on, that atmosphere can start to waver off and a little bit of tension can get into things. So I thought it was vital that Wednesday scored when they did, while the crowd was still very much behind the team and really sort of cheering them on. So 1-0, and of course as soon as you've got something to defend, it gives you that extra impetus then. So we were ratting even more into tackles and headers and blocks. As I said, they looked mainly a threat when they were going wide and winning corners, and they were winning first ball from corners a lot of the time. But Beadle's had a great game. It seems funny that I'm talking about a 3-0 win and talking about Goalkeeper being a potential man at match, but 40 minutes, their lad got down right hand side and he whipped a fantastic crossing, and he were arrowing straight for Wallace's head. It would have been a simple nod home. And Beadle's come out like Clark Kent. Honestly, he's got up there, got his hands to it. And I've talked about this before. I've heard goalkeeping coaches saying, these days they sort of encourage keepers to punch and parry because swerve at ball, and they don't want to get a broken finger and this and other. But he goes up. It's a really, really clean pair of hands. And then probably almost at stroke of half time, they got another one. They got a corner from right hand side again. And again, this time through a crowd scene, and I've talked about this, he's brave. I mean, any young goalkeeper, it can be a good shot stopper. You can stick an outfield player in net occasionally, and they'll produce some decent stops. But there's more to that, when you're a goalkeeper and being a good shot stopper. And his handling, so clean, his handling, coming and taking stuff. But I've talked about this before as well, his bravery down there amongst studs and knees. That'll take him a long way. He's a really brave young keeper, and when he goes back to Brighton, I'll certainly be keeping an eye on his career, because the potential's huge there for such a young kid. Really clean handling. Great start to the second half for Wednesday. A goal after about 3 minutes. Again, we start the half with real tenacity and verve and getting stuck in. And it's a fantastic goal from Ugbo, because although when you watch it back it looks a simple goal, he just takes a little touch and smashes it home. It's the anticipation. Ugbo's a player, and we've talked about this before, when he plays down middle, that he might not have the sort of hold up and link play of somebody like Lee Gregory, and he might not be as good in air as Smithy. But when he's in 18-yard box, he comes alive. And Masaba's gone on a bit of a jinker. Done really well. Just it's just going away from him. He loses a little bit, and they've got about 3 or 4 men in there. One of them gets like an half little blocking. But Ugbo's aware to it. He's aware to what's going to happen, and it's that anticipation of it. A lot of players, they're reactionary. Oh, that's happened, so I'll go and try and do this. He's thinking ahead. Where's it likely to bobble? I mean, a classic example is actually their defenders in that goal. Reactionary. Whereas he's already dink in. A real sniffer in 18-yard box. Brilliant. Their manager is going apoplectic down on touchline, and he makes a quadruple substitution. Obviously, they're still looking for playoffs. They're still needing wins to get into it. I think Hull and Coventry are both sniffing on tailcoats. So he's made a quadruple sub. He brought Adam Reach on. Put a kid on other wing who had a bit of a flyer as well. So he's made 4 changes. And they've gone for it, to be fair to them. They're 2-0 down, but he's gone for it. Reach has sort of come on, I would say at left back, but he's that far up. He's in our half most of the time. You've got to be fair to West Brom. They've really gone for it. But Wednesday didn't really allow him. I mean, they did have some decent breaks. As I said, they're a top half championship team. But I thought we really rattled into them. I think that would probably emphasised by the fact they had a good break at one bit. They did open it, so it was like a 4v4. Dominic Iorfa, who's had a great game, by the way. Fantastic blocking there. And then Wednesday break at pace. That's what I really enjoyed yesterday, was the pace that we attacked. And like I said, in football terms, not fantastic. But in terms of excitement, right up there. And I talk about this a lot. I think there's a bit of snobbery these days about football, and you see these teams who knock it about, and I can find that quite boring. Unless it's going somewhere, I find that boring. It's like the Liverpool team at 80s. People used to rave about them, great football, but I've seen them do 30 passes and then get it back to Grobler to pick up. I've never found that interesting. When I go to a football match, people talk about entertainment. it's not so much entertainment in terms of what people are doing with ball. For me, entertainment, it's excitement. Make me excited. And for all the football wasn't sparkling from Wednesday yesterday, we relied on a couple of moments of quality. It was an exciting performance, and I'll take that every week, mate. As I said, they were a threat from set pieces. They had another one, again, a corner from right hand side. I don't know if they were particularly targeting our left hand side, because I thought Bernard and Johnson did very well defensively yesterday. I think it was, maybe it's just an anomaly, but another corner from that side, and their lad got up, Kushaloo, something like that. He's got to get it on target. It's a free header. Somebody's lost him in there, and he's put it over the bar when he should really do better. But other than that, I thought Wednesday were doing well to win the ball back or force them wide and try and deal with it. I mean, it was end to end. They were probably from that header, actually, probably from goal kick. Masaba went on a jinky run down right and said absolutely skinned two of them players. Put a ball in on near post, and again, Ugbo, it's that awareness. This is what I'm talking about with him in 18-yard box. Gets in front of his man round corner, gets a first time shot away, and you've got to give credit there, lad in net, Palmer. Brilliant save, because he's a big lad. Gets down lightning quick to put it around bottom of post. Really, really good save. Wednesday had a short corner from that. Worked it well. Bannon swung it in. Windass got his head on it again, and keeper again made a good save, put it round post, although Liner gave a goal kick. But it was really, like I said, some people won't have found it entertaining because it weren't pretty patterns and blah blah blah, but I thought it was a really exciting game. And it reminded me our games were in late 80s, early 90s, when, you know, two teams on pitch and both having a go at it. And I'd like to see more games like that up in that country, I really would. End to end, a real ding-dong, tackles flying in, scuffles. I don't know, it makes me laugh. We're on about this over here. You get scuffles in football now, and there's a bit of a crowd scene, and you get 4 or 5 players getting involved in there, and commentators say, oh dear, nobody wants to see that. I do. I love it. Go on, kick him. I can't help myself. To me, it's all part of that experience. Nobody wants to see that. They do. 68 minutes, dreamland for Wednesday, 3-0. Windass, again, 2 huge goals this week. He always turns up when it's needed, doesn't he? The big occasion. He's not phased. Wembley, last week, when we really needed that result against Blackburn. Again today. Again, it starts from Wednesday winning ball back and breaking at pace. Volks wins ball, comes away with it, makes ground up pitch. Their kid's catching him. He's got a bit of pace there, lad. But then there's like an interchange with Masaba. But when Masaba loses ball, who's in there backing him up and winning it back for the second time? Volks. He's made up another 30 yards after his initial run to go and make sure that we get ball back in their half of pitch. Squares it to Bannon, bit of a pile driver. I think it wrong foots their keeper actually, because I think he goes straighter than he's thinking it's going to. And Windass is in there. Lovely little finish outside at boot. 3-0, dreamland for Wednesday. Interesting little moment though, because he famously don't celebrate Windass, does he? But a shirt were off. And then there was just a strange moment when he laid shirt down on turf and he went on his hands and knees and he would kissed shirt and badge, and it was an odd moment. And I just thought to myself, maybe that's because he knows this might be his last game at Hillsborough, and I suspect there's 1 or 2 players in that situation. I think we saw that at end. You know, there were a lap of honour, and there looks to be a few emotional faces out there. That's wind. As I said, I mean shed while Sunday dinners are getting done. It's interesting actually. So many players out of contract. Is it 8 or 9 players? It's easy for players to not put it all in. You know, your future might not be at this club. You might have got another move already set up or whatever. And we've seen it in past, you know, players who have the last few games of the season, when they know they might not be getting renewed, they haven't tried a leg. They've strolled about, they've dodged headers, they've jumped out of tackles, and we've all seen it. And I think that's one of the things about yesterday. To a man, they all got stuck in there. They all got stuck in. There were no shirking. There were no, oh, what about next season? They were in there. Bernard, he's another one. I've heard, that he's injured. It might not have been as bad as it were. You hear these things online, there's a problem with the internet and it's unfettered. But if he has got someone else lined up, I'll tell you what, you wouldn't have seen it yesterday. Brave, heading, tackling, blocking, and him and Dom Iorfa and Liam Palmer were brilliant at back yesterday, getting the bodies on line, getting stuck in there. And all of them, like I said, it's lads who might not even be here next season have really put a shift in, and fans can spot that. Fans know when you're not trained. Fans know when you're hiding. When you're arriving at that tackle a second too late because you don't really want to get there. Fans can see that, and even if they don't know directly what they're seeing, subliminally it's in there. They know. And I think the fact the players have all gone in and give it a full gun like they did yesterday, it's the sort of things that, like I said, because fans can see it, when they come back in future, they'll always get a fantastic reception. Because fans can spot shirkers, and there were none of that yesterday. None of that. Game weren't over by any means. They'd brought a lad on called Swift. He had a shot from about 19, 20 yards just off at bar, and then I think he was just finding his range because a few minutes later he cut inside again. Little ball inside from Adam Reach, and he killed a 25-yarder, and it was curling right round into far top corner. And Beadles got there with an absolutely outstanding save. Right joint at bar and post. Fantastic save. Really agile. And front corner, another brilliant save. It comes in, bobbles about, gets drilled, gets down low, makes a really strong hand. They get another corner, comes in, gets headed, and then there's another lad in there, 6-yard box, and he heads it, changes direction, and again, down, really strong save. 3-0, and Goalkeeper's had a blinder. Danny makes 3 changes, same as last match, 3 forward players who'd all work their socks off. Masaba, so a defensive side to his game that you don't often see today, really worked hard. Ugbo as well, and Windass, obviously 2 vital goals this week. And then Bannon. Bannon came off to an ovation. Was that tactical or with the game safety? Danny want him to get an ovation after 9 years of service. Well, all these things are still to be sorted out, but it did make me wonder. Bambo come on with his face mask. If he got any worries about his face, it didn't show. Fantastic tackle right in corner flag on Adam Reach when he looked like he was going to deliver a cross. And that's what I mean. Every player today, yesterday now, every player has really played the part. Every one of them's put a great shift in. Big brother kid on the round side, Fellows, he were lively. He were very lively. They were trying to get ball to him and Reach, but more so to this Fellows at every opportunity. Trying to get him to run at us, get delivery into the box. And from one of them, he managed to get crossing. A kid had got onto the box. Was it the hanger, somebody they call him? Iorfa. Straight in on him. Bang. Tackle. In box as well. You've got to get them right. To a man. Defending resolutely. Like I said, pleasing on eye? Perhaps not. Pleasing in soul and heart? Yeah. An exciting, full-blooded game. Full-blooded performance. Loved it. I think if anything sums up the performance yesterday, it's the 90th minute. We're 3-0 up. West Brom can't win. They're not going to be able to draw at that point. One of their lads gets into the box and Will Volks comes in. They're getting down sort of our right back position, right back area. Get into the box and Will Volks comes all the way across the 18-yard line to make a block. And for me, that sums it up. That sums up the performance at lads yesterday. That 3-0 and still desperate to get that clean sheet. And that's the attitude you've got to have. That sort of attitude that can keep you up. Same again next week at Sunderland, and that'll be enough.